uh, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Welcome to what we're going to temporarily call Positively Governmental. I'm Dave Furneaux, council member of the City of Central's Council, and this is
Wade Evans. I'm also a councilman in the City of Central. Welcome to our discussion.
Well, and we just Wade and I have been talking about doing something to keep people informed on what's going on in city government. Two things we really believe in. Central is a great city with amazing potential. And we also believe it's possible to discuss political matters and governmental matters respectfully. So that's what we're going to try to do. I'm not sure how long this broadcast is going to last. It might be 15 minutes. Heck, Facebook may get in and cancel us. I don't know. We may go 40 minutes. We're just going to talk till we're out of good things to talk about, and we'll sign off then.
I promise to not get us banned from Facebook, Councilman.
Very good. Matter of fact, if you see me a little distracted, I'm just trying to make sure that we're actually broadcasting and everything's streaming right. I
didn't print a copy of the agenda. I'm sure you have one handy.
No, buddy, we're making this up as we go along.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I don't think we can do that.
It's one of my favorite ones to make.
Let's see. Well, it says we're live, buddy. I think we are. Okay, well, somehow politics at all levels, from national all the way down to central, has moved from respectful debate to somewhat of an embarrassing fight. I've heard from many in the community that they want respectful discussion. At council meetings and in discussions on social media, they'd much rather see us talk about the issues than talk about each other. I want to see that change, and I'll start with me. I think all of us that are in this political scene, the governmental scene, at some time or another, contributed to the acrimony and maybe not behaved like we should. But I want everything we do to be based on an honest, respectful exchange of ideas, and even when we disagree. We're going to start with this broadcast, and Wade, if you and I can't present the issues of the city in a reasonable and respectful manner, I don't guess we should be doing this, should we?
I would agree. And I wake up every morning flawed, and I go to bed hopefully gaining a little more wisdom every day. I still come up short, and I have definitely taken part in what people would consider negative politics, and I'm hoping to utilize this platform to help us change that as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to this.
Well, good.
Because really at hand is the issues, and that's why we ran. We thought we could do a better job, and so that's what we're attempting to do.
Now, if you asked me a year ago if I'd be sitting here doing a broadcast with Wade Evans, I'd have laughed at you. Wade and I had a rocky start. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter what we got caught up in. Let's just say that Wade and I didn't see eye to eye for maybe the first almost 2 years of sitting on the council together. And the sad thing is we sit at the same table.
Yeah, next to each other. I actually inquired about getting that changed.
I actually thought about changing my name so I could get somewhere less in the alphabet.
Likewise. I tell you, politics is a fickle beast, and opinions vary, and sometimes that's just how it goes. But Dave, I've always thought you were a very brilliant man, very smart, and I may be giving you too much credit, but I've always respected your opinion and views, even when we disagree. We definitely disagreed on the council in the initial run up to where we are now, but it was mostly about personality differences on things. And I think we still always want to head in the same direction. I know your love for Central is strong, and mine is as well. So,
well, when I first got introduced to you, I thought, now, who is this guy? Says everything comes to his mind, and then I found out that it's not coming from your mind, just it's coming from your heart too. So Wade's got a heart for Central, and if you want to know how Wade feels, just talk to him because he's going to tell you, and he'll be honest with you. So Wade and I have learned to work together, and I think a lot of the council has. And here's what I tell people when they ask us at first. There's a little bit of back and forth between council members, and I said, you know what? We're all pulling in the same direction. We're just pulling on different ropes, and that to me that's healthy as long as we keep the debate and the discussion respectful.
The hardest thing for me is when before you get elected, you think, okay, I can do this. This is a no-brainer. Some of these decisions, but then you get in office and you learn about the legal aspects of things and the decision process, and you can't just always follow your heart on certain things, because sometimes you have to deal with the laws we have in play and everything else. And so that was the hardest thing for me, is realizing that as staunch as I was about certain things, you realize that sometimes it's bigger than you, and you have to step back and look at the greater good. And the one thing I've learned in the last 2 years is that while on the surface something I may be against it for one reason or another, it requires me to look at it from many different angles. And so that's the evolution of my political life as I see it. It requires me to reevaluate things outside of just a personal view. So
yeah, my process has been maybe just the opposite. I've approached everything from a very technical legal point of view, and done so much research over the years with the newspaper, and honestly was kind of at odds with some of the administrations in past years, and it required me to be on my game and have good information. But I'm finding that relationships are more important than some of the technicalities, and we can get past the technicalities and work around them, and still follow the laws and the spirit of everything we're doing. But when we try to see eye to eye on things, more stuff gets done.
I definitely feel that working together is the spirit of it, because that's how we get things done. So that's been great, having to sit next to you, but actually listening to you and learning how to work together has been a good thing. So
well, and watching how you work people is fun, because you're a gregarious guy, and you're likable, and you're quick. I mean, I'm hard pressed to keep up with you. You'll comebacks in council. I'm glad they're more friendly these days. So let's talk about our format. We're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, and after that, we'll post it to the Go Central website. Let's talk about the name, Positively Governmental, and that is awkward and long. Had to find something kind of on the spur of the moment, because Wade and I just agreed to do this a few days ago, and needed something that said something about, we want to be positive and bring the best face for Central, and we want to talk about things going on in the government. I started out with a name that had the word political in it, and as soon as I threw that out there, I got some phone calls. They said, "Look, no, don't make it political, because people see the word political as fighting." So we just want to be positive. So if somebody's got an idea, I've just been told to bring my mic close. Let me turn myself up. If somebody has an idea of something we can do to, a name we can use for this, text one of us, email one of us, make it in the comments here. Help us out and give us something to call this that will be indicative of what we're trying to do. Go ahead.
Positively politics. Let's just, a conversation is I don't know how we would come up with the name, and it ultimately it is about the policies that we're discussing, and moving forward or not moving forward. That's what the discussion will revolve around. And so it, by nature, it is going to be somewhat political, if you will, because it's what we're discussing as the legislative body. So any insight from the public could be welcome.
Politics is just basically the working together of people to accomplish something. So, it's not by nature or by definition a bad word, but probably keep it out. Keep political out of this. But give us something to call. The Dave and Wade Waste an Hour show. I don't know. Tell us what you think.
And keep it clean. If you want to call it something ugly for us, we're probably not going to do that either. But go ahead and if you're watching, you take your shots.
So, Katie, tell me if you can hear me any better now. Comment. You can comment on Facebook or YouTube, and we can read your comments, and we'll try to bring your things into the show. If you got a question, no trolling, no negativity. We just really don't want that. We'll ignore it and then delete it later. So your questions are welcomed. Uh, our idea here was to present you with the council agenda for an upcoming council meeting, and maybe after a council meeting, then week after, we'd go with some council results and tell you what we did and why. Um, and then maybe mention some things that are kind of on the horizon we know are coming up in council meetings or things that will be considered, and just keep you in the loop. So you want to dive into this week, Wade?
I'm ready.
All right. Well,
I'm ready. I looked at the agenda earlier.
Well, we'll start with the simple, boring stuff. Proposing a change in the way we select our board of adjustments. For those who want a brief lesson, when there's a lot of things that would come to the council, like how wide a property is that's being subdivided, or how far off of a property line your building can be, that kind of thing. So little technical things that need a look at it to say, well, you've got a unique situation on your piece of property, and we need to let you, put your house a little closer to the property line, or your accessory building, et cetera. So that's a group of guys guys and ladies. Actually, right now it's all guys, I think. That look at those things and take some of those things off the agenda for us, and we just basically empower them to make those decisions. And it's really a function of the council, and state law kind of says the council needs to staff that. When Central started 15 years ago, some of the language didn't translate well. We actually the original ordinances set the mayor up to staff the P&Z and the council and the board of adjustments, and to be consistent with state law, we're just making a technical change to say the council has to make those appointments. So that should be just a cursory matter to get through next Tuesday. And by the way, we meet Tuesdays every other Tuesday, or I should say second and fourth Tuesday at Kristenwood at 6 o'clock. Kristenwood's the building right across the street from St. Alphonse.
They have the best fried fish, in my opinion, of any catering facility I've ever eaten at.
Good deal. You keep hoping they're going to cater council meetings, huh?
It's crossed my mind sitting at the table quite a few times when my stomach's rumbling and Spencer's preparing for an event he may have coming up, and he's cooking in the kitchen. I can kind of get a whiff of it here and there. Yeah, it definitely crosses my mind.
Well, I got to tell you, Wade, we're up to 12 people watching us now. Actually, 13. Actually got one on YouTube. That's interesting. Good deal.
That's good.
So we're shooting for 13 or 14 before the. But we've been doing this a couple of months, but it does stay recorded on Facebook. You can watch it later, and hopefully, as we get the word out, we'll get a little more participation. I've been told it's not board of adjustments; it's board of adjustment. That's correct. So put your
I
comments
just go with
in
BOA because it's a lot less syllables.
There you go.
It's easier for me to say just the BOA.
There you go. So, with some fear and trepidation, let's talk about the big item on Tuesday's agenda, and that's an offer to purchase property for City Hall. I'll go in a nutshell and say that just to fast forward to the end, the possibility of buying property from the school system is something that some of us on the council have wanted for months now. We've been kind of back and forth on this for about 6 months, and Tuesday night is basically us saying, let's vote on it. And we've never voted on whether to buy the property from the school system. So we'd like to see it bring to a vote. It's been delayed several times. And Wade, if you want to kind of maybe bring us back to the origin of it, and we're not going to do anything other than kind of tell you what the process has been. That's all we care about at this point.
Well, I think it's very well known, how we got to this point. But the idea of building a city hall has been something we've been discussing for quite some time. The mayor and I actively talked about it a year and a half ago, and it was just a matter of picking a location and moving forward. And we had a couple good locations, and we settled on discussions for giving the mayor the authority to discuss the Whitney location behind the Capital One Bank and the Circle K. And the school board, it was always an interesting site. It's a very prominent location in the city. It's at the corner, if you will, the heart of Central. It's where the old Central School was. It's kind of how we got our name, if you will. And to me, the opportunity to do something on that corner and the benefits of it just far outweigh anything else we've looked at.
Well, let me chime in, Wade. I'm going to tell you that when it kind of looked like we were going to go for the Whitney property, and that was initially, that got some very strong consideration, and even to the point that we looked at possibly approving a purchase agreement. There were some things in there that the council kind of said, we'd like to see more, or we'd like to see some other concessions and some things to connect that to Sullivan Road through the shopping center next to it. So it didn't pass the first time we looked at it. It got deferred to say, no, we need to do a little more work here. But the comment I made then, and I've always been a fan of the school board site. I was kind of in the minority at first, and I hope I'm in the majority now, but I guess we'll see pretty soon. But my comment there was, this is not about a right or wrong decision. Either site is a legitimate place for City Hall. This is a matter of opinion, and neither opinion is wrong, and everybody's entitled to have one.
That is, in fact, correct. And look, opinions change with facts and with data. And for me, things happen. In my discussions about the other properties, it kind of steered me in a different direction. There was nothing nefarious about it. It was just looking at an opportunity to do something that's bigger than myself, something that will be for the city of Central and its people for many, many years to come. And the last undisturbed, beautiful piece of property that's available at the corner of that main intersection. And so that's, and when I look at the potential for a city center and the potential for development of that corridor, I mean, everything just kind of falls in line with that location. And so that's kind of what's gotten me to where I'm at. And I think it's time for a vote. There's a lot of talk, but it's been deferred numerous times. Trying to work through the details here and there. And I think it's time to say, hey, look, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to focus on other things. I'm ready to let's let this council decide if this is where we're going to go or if not, but I don't like it hanging over my head. I don't like the speculation and not knowing. I'm just ready to move forward.
Look, the best comment so far is one of our listeners says he's beginning to think we need to have City Hall in a food truck and let it move around city. It can make everybody happy.
Look, and I'm all in for food trucks. I'm just not sure what we do on cold, rainy days for our meetings. We still need a facility.
Well, one of the comments that someone has made and had somebody agree with him is we need to look at both sites. And honestly, we have looked at the purchase agreement from the Whitney site, and it got some strong consideration. And now we're looking at a purchase agreement on the school board site. And here's the fact. If the majority of the council prefers the Whitney site, the resolution that we have up Tuesday night to ask the mayor to tender a purchase offer for the school board property, it'll fail. So if there's the majority of the council that would prefer the Whitney property, then the resolution will fail. So it really is a vote on both properties in a sense, I guess. But the bottom line is this is only about purchasing the school board property, and if that fails, then we're back to square one.
Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, what square that is. I know that this an offer to purchase that property would still require support of the school board
Sure.
To go along, and it would also it's not binding us to build a city hall. So we already have money allocated to purchase land in capital outlay. It's my understanding, 650 or so thousand already. So it's not like we would be spending unknown sums of money on something. We know we have the intent to build a city hall at some point somewhere. So it's just time to make a decision. The idea that we would just throw it all away and do nothing because we can't agree on a site, it needs to be voted on by those that were elected to vote on it.
Okay, one of our
Not a
commenters,
referendum item.
someone was commented that they were asking about the $1 million that was not mentioned in this decision to switch the school board property. And just to give a little bit of factual background, there was $1 million of state money made available to do some improvements at the corner, and that honestly that made it an even more attractive thing. And fast forward to where we are today, what was once funding for City Hall is now funding for a school board school facility meeting, school board facility. The state, Senator White has moved that to the school system, which is unfortunate for the city in a sense, but for the taxpayer's point of view, it's still in your pockets. It's came out of your school board pocket, I'm sorry, your city pocket, went to your school board pocket. I wasn't excited about it, but it's what happened. And now where we are today is that there's going to be almost $3 million worth of state money poured into that corner, and there's also going to be more money from the school system because they want more building than that money will buy. There's going to be a lot of improvements made on that corner, so I believe that has made it a more attractive option. Thanks in no small part to the state money that got involved. So, Wade, did that catch your attention?
Well, the look, losing the money, the fact that we lost the state money that had been secured over many, many years, it was very frustrating. However, it's not a deal breaker for me. We have ample money in the bank to not only buy property, but we have the money to build a city hall. I think what we have to do as a council, and I look forward to it with our budget meetings coming up, is we have to decide as a city how much surplus does a city need. I mean, we have, if you follow Dave Ramsey's method, I mean, we have our emergency fund, we have these other funds that are almost fully funded, and we still have $11 million in just cash. And how much cash as a city do we need? And it's important to have cash available, but also know that some of those funds, in the event of a tragic emergency, we could reallocate funds here or there to pay our match for, say, FEMA disasters or what have you, and then get our money back at the end of the day, and then reallocate it back to where it came from. So,
the
thought process. Go ahead.
We're getting up on budget time, which is sometime in a couple of weeks. We'll probably be sitting down to do a budget workshop when the mayor calls it, and that'll be a good time for us to talk about that. Maybe let's do a whole segment on a show, maybe in conjunction with the budget workshop, where we talk about our excess funds, our savings, and our emergency funds, et cetera, and kind of make that a topic. What do you think?
Well, I think that's good. I mean, the only reason I brought it up is because I don't want the perception to be we lost this state money, now we can't afford to build a city hall. I was never comfortable just relying on the state for funding for our wants, needs, and desires. When I campaigned for council, I had always said we need to at least match the state money. We don't need to go extravagant, but we should, in good faith, match state money as a city to help build our future city hall. I've always thought we needed to build a city hall at some point that would fit our needs for many years, because you just never know. And a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, if you will. And if we do have the resources today to utilize, then utilize them today, because we don't know what tomorrow brings.
Well, another point you made earlier is this is not about building a city hall. It's about purchasing a site. And we know that either the 2 acres in conjunction with the school board parking, et cetera, would be there for the stadium, or a larger piece of property elsewhere. That's plenty for a city hall. So this is just the purchase of property with no commitment to build at this point. The question was asked, where can you find out where the proposed offer to purchase is? If you go to the city website and look at the news and events, and under that tab you'll see public notices, and in there you'll see an item for the council meeting for Tuesday. If you pull up the agenda, there should be a link on that item, a little blue link that you can click to go see Exhibit A, which is the proposed purchase agreement. So they'll give you all the details. In a nutshell, it's to offer whatever the property appraises for 2 acres right there near the corner where the school board is building as well.
And I want to mention, we wanted to make it as straightforward and simple as possible. So other than the legal jargon, it's a very straightforward offer to purchase. This is not necessarily a purchase agreement. It's an offer to purchase that the school board will either accept or reject. And at that point, that's when we'll have to vote on, I guess, funding it, if you will. But I don't want to let the legal jargon get in the way of. It's a very simple agreement. So
I think the bottom line here, in keeping with what we're trying to do, is we're just trying to say it's a great thing for the city to move forward, to eventually build a city hall, give us a little bit of a city identity. We have a great city, and an identity, and a place that people can come for all the services, their permits, their dealings with the city, et cetera, would be nice. What's one of your kids?
I had a sidekick pop in the picture here. My 9-year-old. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a dad.
There you go. So for anybody who doesn't know, a council seat is definitely a part-time, mostly volunteer effort, and all of us are working in day jobs and families around it. So
yeah. So I apologize if it distorted anybody's view, but that's how it goes around this house.
There you go.
Chickens, dogs, and kids.
So the authors or the sponsors of this bill is Councilman McKinney and Councilman Evans and myself. And what it really comes down to is we're just saying, let's go ahead and put this to a vote and see if the council is in favor of this site. And if not, the council will have to make another decision. So there's nothing etched in stone on this, and all we're doing is asking the mayor to sign and tender an offer to the school system to start the process. So anything else we need to talk about that, Wade, do you think?
I think it's pretty good. We really don't have any discussion items for planning and zoning. We have some announcements. I haven't had a chance to look at the package yet, but I'm anxious to see. There's something. Did you have a chance to glance at the packet about a Shoe Creek?
No, I did not. My understanding is that's basically asking for the setbacks to be changed again. I think it's the same thing that came to us 6 months ago. But,
right.
There are.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Looking at some of the things on the horizon, Wade and I have been talking for months about a public comment change, and the difficulty that we have is that the council, the agenda item gets announced, and then it goes immediately to the public for comment. Then it comes back to the council, and the council starts talking about it and sharing information that we've gotten and giving some different takes on what we found out from maybe the applicant, et cetera. And the public comment's already ended. So I find people coming up to me later and saying, well, if I'd known about that piece of information, I would have wanted to say something different. So if an item's not amended, that's all they get to do is talk. So Wade and I were talking about, well, Wade, tell us what we're proposing.
Well, it came up, and it's something I discussed again back when I was running, but it came to fruition a couple council meetings ago. We had a street repair issue, and it looked like about 80% of the neighborhood was there to speak. And I had asked that we suspend rules and discuss it prior to it going to the public, because I didn't want everybody that came, I didn't want them like they had to get up and go for the full 3 minutes if we were going to cover what they were there to discuss. It seemed to work really well, and that's what prompted me to call you and discuss that with you, because a lot of times people get up to speak and we may be already, we may have already, we're going to discuss their issue or their concern or their like or dislike or what have you. And they don't know. So they get up to speak when, if we would discuss this, whatever the item may be, prior to public comment, then go to the public comment, then let it come back to council to answer any questions that were raised during that public comment. I think it would be better for the meeting flow, as well as for the attendees who want to comment on something or make sure that every issue is covered. And it would keep us from going back and forth.
Right. And one of the reasons that I've been chewing on this for the better part of the 2 years we've been on council is that I see opportunities sometimes when the public sees something a little controversial and they go, you know what, I really don't like this. And we'll get 45 minutes of public comment about what they don't like, and come to find out we're planning on to amend it anyway to take that out. So a lot of people, come to a meeting, speak, and then find out that, well, the council was going to amend that anyway. So let's get all of our amendments done before we ask the public to speak, because we're actually asking them to speak on something that might not even be the final issue anyway.
Correct.
So now they have a right to speak every time you do an amendment. So, and I encourage public comment. I want as much as we can get, but I want it to be efficient. And we've had some marathon council meetings when it's on a high profile issue. And if we let the public speak after they understand what changes we'll make or what additional information we bring, I think it's going to streamline the process and let everybody get back to their home to their families.
Yeah.
So that'll be introduced next council meeting for a vote, 2 council meetings from now. Can I talk about the streets program?
I would love to hear.
Well,
I know we briefly discussed it, but I know that we have a lot of issues in streets. So.
Some years back, PEC, I think it was maybe 10, 12 years ago, did an assessment of all the streets in Central, and it generated a list of what streets need to be repaired in what order. Like which ones are the most likely to get more expensive if you don't take care of them now, which ones are in the worst shape with the highest traffic counts, etc. And they worked off that list for a number of years, but it became outdated. And more recently, it's been a seat of the pants. I shouldn't say that, not seat of the pants. It's been a best guess as to what streets need repair the most. I'm going to be proposing a study. I mean, we've gotten Senator Sanjay to do a proposal to assess basically every foot of every street in Central. We have about 200 miles of streets, and come back with a report that says, if you're going to spend money, here's the order you ought to spend it in. Because if you spend, I'm going to use some silly numbers, you spend $10 fixing this road, you are avoiding spending $30 fixing it a year from now, because it's about to go into base failure. So hopefully we can prevent some of the things from deteriorating and getting to that next level of needed repair where it gets more expensive. And it also allows us, based on traffic count and condition of the road, to serve the most citizens the quickest. And we have a lot of money in street repairs, EBR, Move EBR, and the old green light program, the half-cent sales tax. We've accumulated some $12 million in money that we have to spend on streets. It can't be spent on economic development or ditches or city hall or property or operations. It's dedicated sales tax money, so it's got to be spent on streets. And we just need to get a plan. And we add $2.5 million to that every year. So I'm interested in us taking a very assertive program to get as many streets out of the need for repair as soon as we can, because that's a lot of what people do in this town. I get so many calls. Hey Dave, who do I take my claim to for my rim getting bent on that pothole?
Well, look, drive through Village Lakes, and you see, I'm holding my phone driving through, but that's the effect. Don't have coffee, don't have anything. I mean, and we have that in numerous neighborhoods. And so I think it's great that we're going to look at a plan to know, because, one of the things that I always think about, and look, we have a great system. Our private contractor, IBTS, they do a great job. But it's something as a guy who, like, doing the same job twice is very expensive in my line of work. Building a cabinet because you screwed up a cabinet or because you didn't do something correctly, it's very time consuming and painstaking. And I've often wondered how much, like, where is the break even point of how many times we will go out and patch a pothole before we say, because we know we're still going to have to really fix it. How many times do we patch it before we just really fix it? Like, if it costs $1,000, I'm just using numbers. I don't know what the costs are, but if it costs $1,000 to go out and patch a hole 8 times, but it costs $1,400 to fix it, it seems to reason that it would be smarter use of our tax dollars to go ahead and cut the spot out and fix it the proper way, whether it be a base failure or what have you, than to spend the $1,000 over time, having to keep residents calling, continuing to go out and fix it, and still having to spend the $1,400 to fix it right anyway. And so I'm hoping that this street analysis will do that, and we can continue to work with our contractor to have a best practices for doing these things.
Well, a couple of questions on the Facebook site. Is there somewhere the streets there's a list of the streets under the city's jurisdiction? Every street in the city limits is central, with the exception of the major roads: Hooper, Sullivan, Wax, etc., Greenville Springs. Those are state and parish roads. Every small road in the city is central, and our largest ones are probably Core and Lovett and Gurney.
McCullough, maybe.
And McCullough. Those are the biggest streets that actually belong to Central. So all the neighborhoods, basically all the streets except the big major arteries, they're all city central.
Thibodeau Road was a big project.
True.
Just it's finishing up, and it's super nice.
And the other question was, who decides which roads get repaired? The mayor has a lot to do with that decision, and I want to give the mayor good information to make that decision, but he comes to the council and says, I'm proposing to fix this road. Or the council can say, we'd like to fund the repair of this road. So it can come either way. The mayor can want to fix a road, and if the council is not willing to appropriate the money, it doesn't get fixed. And if the council can appropriate the money to fix a road, the mayor doesn't necessarily have to pursue that as part of his agenda. So it's a checks and balances and cooperative thing. So hopefully, working together, the things that the mayor asks us to do, if it's within reason, we should fund, and the things that we ask the mayor to do, if it's within reason, he should be willing to execute. So the main thing is to give all parties good information to work off of. Going back just a little bit, one of the comments made that several people seemed to like, they were talking about the public comment at the council meeting. They're saying the order ought to be item, description, council discussion, public comment, council answer to public comment, which is important to me. I try to list what people ask and make sure we answer.
You do, and your handwriting is. I almost want to call you Dr. Dave when I see you scribbling over there.
I do that so you can't read what I'm writing, because mostly I'm writing about you.
I see everything you do.
I'm making notes about you most of the time.
Look, the full disclosure, I used to, when you and I were at each other, I would see your hand would start moving, and I was like, "Oh, I got him! I got him right now. He's over there scribbling something down."
But that's why I write in hieroglyphics, so you can't read
it. That's it.
So hopefully, a lot of this will come to fruition in the next weeks and months. Budget workshop in mid-May, a week or two from now. That's kind of the target. The mayor and our accountant are working to finalize a budget and get some more data from the police department and be able to present what they'd like to spend and see if we can approve what they want. Maybe even throw some more in there.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see all those numbers. I'm anxious to see all of them. You know, one of the things while we're on the feed, I want to remind everyone the Greenville Springs Youth Riders Rodeo, Friday and Saturday. It's a big event. It's a great event for the community. Ken Ray, the guy who's kind of heading it up now, has done such a marvelous job of advertising out to the public and getting banners. I mean, I got a call from a constituent who's also a friend. He he was up in West Feliciana Parish at a baseball game this weekend. He said, "Man, they got Youth Rider Rodeo signs all the way up 61." I was like, "That's perfect." So hopefully the weather is going to be amazing this weekend. Should be dry. I mean, if it's anything like today, I'm going to be out. I'm actually going to be working, but I'll be out, and I'm going to actually go out to the rodeo and
I want to see you. I want to see you on a horse.
Well, that's probably not going to happen unless I break a leg in the bottom of a canyon or something. Then I'll be riding out on a mule. But you know what? I tell all my cowboy friends, I love the music and I like the clothes, but I never could get comfortable in a saddle. I didn't enjoy the bumpity bump ride. I don't like that, and I don't like riding through rough, potholy roads.
They tell us we're up to 19 watchers now. Right now, that's awesome.
I think we've hit our peak, buddy.
That's 8. It's 18 more than I expected. My wife said she'd tune in, so I knew we had at least one. So
I don't
remember,
think mine's watching.
You can watch this thing after it's over. You can share it with other people. It'll be on the web forever. The internet's forever, Wade. So the stuff we say is never going to go away.
Oh, every time I say it, I know.
Look, also there's another Shop the Square event on the 22nd, I believe, and I'm going from memory. Starts at 4. Going to be a band, food trucks, etc. So that should be a lot of fun too.
That the first one they did was an amazing event. The food truck roundup, wow! I mean, the kids and I went, and every line was so long. They ended up selling out. Hopefully, we'll get more vendors and continue to do that as well. I love seeing people come out and support everything in the community. At the end of the day, we may disagree on a few things here and there, but we'll stand side by side to help our neighbors, and that's what Central's all about. And I look forward to it.
Can someone tell us about the completion of Sullivan Road? I do know that there's a lot of pressure being put on the contractor to keep moving. It has been a sore spot, and it has the attention of our state and parish officials and elected officials, and they are, every time I talk to one of them, I don't even have to bring it up. They say, "Oh, by the way, I'm doing this on Sullivan Road. I'm really pushing on this." So they know what a frustration it is. It's been a frustration for them. Hopefully it stays moving. I've seen a lot of activity there in the last couple of weeks that I hadn't seen before.
I wonder, every time I pass, they have these pumps, and I don't know if it's sewer lines that they're doing a vacuum test on or extraction. I don't know, or if it's the water lines, but it seems that the utilities have been the slowest part of this. And hopefully once all that's done, it should move rather quickly. So I see that they have what appears to be the final phase of the sewer or water line process, because they have the big machine with the pipes hooked to the other pipes, with all the little pipes extracting little droplets of water out all day long. So whatever that's doing, that seems to be the last process of that thing.
A friend of mine was in that industry was telling me about they're facing it. He had a word for it. They're facing one of these problems where the water table is high, and they're having to deal with the water issue, and that's been one of the problems. He said it's an
makes sense. About 20 foot out here.
Yeah. So well, we broke 20. We hit 21, Wade.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're probably talking about us. That's good.
That's good.
I like it.
Well, Wade, I appreciate you being willing to do this with me. I'm thoroughly enjoying working with you now, not back then. Now.
Well, I mean, I think I'm the only person that has survived 2 coup attempts.
Yep. Well, I broke hold no hard feelings about you being doing what you're doing right now, because you're doing it well. So
well, thank you, Dave.
Looking forward to.
I enjoyed this our first episode. Look forward to many more, because I think this is the best way to discuss things, and that way a lot of the questions can get answered prior to it even going to a meet. So anyway, I appreciate it. I'd like to thank all 21 listeners and viewers, Mom, Grandma, thank y'all for boosting our numbers.
Yeah, I got 7 cousins and 2 brothers and sisters. So there's about 3 people that are not related to us watching.
That's it. Good deal.
And I would encourage you, take this video after it's finished and share it. Share it on your Facebook page. Share it on some of the discussion pages. And if you think it's worth hearing, not looking to. We're not going to go. I'm not going to go to any shares of these and do battle with anybody on these issues. That's not what this is for. Central's a great city with amazing potential, and it's possible to discuss political matters respectfully. That's kind of my mantra in doing this show. So, Wade, again, I appreciate it, and we'll sign off here in a minute.
Well, Dave, I thank you for the time tonight, and look forward to it. And if one thing I've learned through this whole process is it is okay to disagree, but it's not okay to do it disagreeably.
One of my mentors told me that. He came to me and he said, "Dave, you need to learn how to disagree without being so disagreeable." And I was 20 something, and I'm still trying to learn that lesson.
Look, you wake up flawed, you go to bed flawed. All we can do is hope for the best every day and try to be different tomorrow. So
look, if I wake up, my wife lets me stay one more day, I'm a happy man.
That's right. Mine brought the kid to carpool this morning, so I did good. She let me sleep in at 6:22.
All right, we're going to do this again next Thursday night, unless Facebook or YouTube decides we're not appropriate, or unless all 23. Unless all 23 of you send us a message and say, guys, you need not be doing this.
I will, Dave, I will tell you, that is a cool picture of a wildcat. But I do wonder if it's posed. It looks to be like
this one here?
No, the one over your left shoulder.
No,
looks to be
my left shoulder is one
himself.
that my grandfather shot in the mid 60s, I believe it was. Thanks for the setup, Wade. It sat on, when I was a kid, it sat on the TV at my grandparents' house, and we were afraid of that sucker. We wouldn't get anywhere near the TV.
I bet.
Someday I'll tell you the story of how tracking that thing down. It got out of the family. It took me 4 years to go find it, but it's back.
Good deal. Well, look, I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you guys soon. And anybody out there watching, I love to hear your comments. If you agree or disagree, I'm always about listening to your opinions, because that's what we do. I ran to be your voice, and I plan to keep doing that. So thank you.
I will just wrap up with a couple of comments. Some people have asking about a discussion at Breck. It's not a city council issue. It's not a city issue. It's a state issue. And certainly there may be some discussions elsewhere about it, but it's not within the purview of what we're trying to do here, trying to keep you involved on what's happening at your council and with your administration. We'll try to keep you updated on someone's asking, hey, can you update us on events? We'll try to bring the upcoming events to you like we did with the rodeo and the Shop Central event. We'll try to mention those, promote good things happening in Central. So we'll have another equally entertaining, if not better, show next Thursday night at 8 o'clock.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Have a good evening.